Welcome to this multimodal thesis, Forging Cultural Identity from the Margins, an investigation into the Iteso traditional music and performances. It's me, Daniel Okiror, one of the specimen in my own study. In my journey as a constantly evolving Ateso, I kissed my village goodbye in my teenage years in search of education and hence a better life in the city of Kampala. Little did I know that I had triggered a constant movement that eventually led me out of Uganda to Mombasa, Kenya, in pursuit of my dreams of helping street children and showcasing the positive perspective of Africa through my music.
Wengine wanalia wanapakuegemea, upendo kweli waende kwa sana, wajue tunawapenda sana. Ndugu na dada mitaani wanaumia, wengine wanalia wanapakuegemea, upendo kweli waende kwa sana, wajue tunawapenda sana.
Or nobody helping them out. I see them longing for love. I'm gonna let them to know I and Christo, we love them.
Ook al wonen en werken ze vaak op openbare wegen en pleinen, straatkinderen zijn toch een van de meest onzichtbare en dus de moeilijkste kinderen te bereiken. Ze worden vaak gezien als een bedreiging voor de samenleving, crimineel en als verantwoordelijke voor het viesmaken van de straten. Straatkinderen belanden op straat door mishandeling thuis, drugs- en alcoholmisbruik, het overlijden van een ouder, gebroken gezinnen, armoede of oorlog. Eenmaal op straat is de teleurstelling groot wanneer de kinderen in grotere problemen komen. Deze groep kinderen en families worden regelmatig uitgenodigd in Wannawamola voor een speciale dag met lekker eten, muziekoptredens en ook wordt er soms kleding uitgedeeld.
celebration in my heart for all that you have done for me. I wanna give back.
My life in Kenya would soon complicate itself when I got married to a Dutch woman. I was now domiciled in both Kenya, Uganda, and the Netherlands, and in all these places I was demanded to effectively integrate. This took me further and further from my traditional life in the Iteso village of Okude Orungo and Nakatunya slums. How was I supposed to remain grounded in my cultural identity and my mother tongue, Ateso, yet I was forced to adopt English, Swahili, Luganda, and the Dutch language, among others, in order to survive in my new environments? Incidentally, my story is not an isolated one. Many Iteso are caught up in this paradox where they can only use foreign languages in their intercultural families and work. Lucky me, the sound and the rhythm of the Iteso music in my heart and in my hand makes me feel at home wherever I am, consistently provoking Iteso nostalgia and the wisdom of my forefathers. This nostalgia evokes a burning passion within me to search deeper into the Iteso oral traditions. I am motivated to contribute to the development of my own people by implementing my vast academic and practicing knowledge as a researcher, a social scientist, and a musician on an international platform, ensuring that I balance off the equation of the years I spent abroad, where I was conspicuously missing from my village. By taking a multimodal approach in archiving and publishing the Iteso traditional music and performance corpus, I hope that I can bridge the gap between the Iteso elders, who are the custodians of oral knowledge, and the traveling Iteso like myself. I also hope that my contribution will create a scientific epistemology for the global population interested in this topic. Who are the Iteso?
Pupiting of a Pontositeso, Djibouti, Chebalas de Pontoso, Ethiopia. Konye Yoba Bepontoriteso.
We are supposed to have come from the Israels. We are a part of Israel. We are from the people who disobeyed God and killed Jesus. And then I can blame it because we were dispersed. We were dispersed.
So you are
2,000 years ago.
So you are actually saying that that our ancestors were Hebrews.
He was an Hebrew who brought the history himself and told us when we met him. We are going to meet the Turkana, the Nyanatom from Ethiopia, the other people from southern Sudan there who speak like us, and then those from Kenya, also from Kenya. We all met in the Lokiriama, a place in Turkana.
Ethiopia, Alamuni Sudan, Akilama Uganda, Akilama Kapuna Boke, Emorimo, Yogajo Akonaswa, Imakyo Kosi, Yoga Esakutaswam, I Moritikina Teke. Asocha, Ojurata, Alekile, Malinga, Oduk, Asonya, Embun, Imaseniko, Be, Ikakia, Iteso, Obe.
Whereas historians declared that the Iteso came from the area of Ethiopia and Djibouti, my oral literature study averts that these were merely transitional points from their Hebrew Habasham roots. They were one among the lost tribes of Israel who became the Ikatunga. They fled the 7th century Arab invasion of the Fertile Crescent of Egypt and the Horn of Africa southwards, following the water bodies for their animals, whereas their counterparts, the Igbo, went westwards towards Nigeria. The Iteso were temporarily halted by the Ethiopian highlands, where they established Abyssinian and Solomonic dynasties before some of them opted to continue with their trek southwards, entering East Africa via Karamoja through the Ateker identity, a people speaking similar dialects. Incidentally, Ateker is derived from the Ateso word Ataker, which means boat, literally, those saved by the boat of Noah. Over the years, Iteso identity, just like their music and dance, has been transforming with various aspects being lost, yet there exists a core like a mustard seed in the heart of each Iteso generation that beckons them back to their roots, where music plays an essential role in reinforcing their sense of belonging. Indeed, after analyzing the corpus in my archive, Iteso are calling for an urgent renewal and development of their cultural identity. But what is cultural identity? Pay attention to this song by Abarilela Music Group. They define cultural identity as those things that a community does that differentiates it from other communities, like dressing, like food, like language, and many others.
Welcome back. You're watching the Power Breakfast Show. Now, as you know, every Friday we deal with matters entertainment or culture here on the show. And this morning, like I said when we started the show, we're taking a short journey around the country. We want to find out more about the Iteso community. So we have a lot lined up. We have to find out how they dress, what they eat, how they say good morning to each other. Daniel, in fact, how do you say good morning?
Very simple. You can say yoga.
Yoga.
Yoga. Yoga means hi or hello. But you can add something there. Yoga akwenyu.
Yoga akwenyu.
It's like I am thanking you for waking up.
Oh wow! You actually thank people to wake up.
Because it's not always that people can sleep and wake up.
Yeah.
So yoga akwenyu.
And then how do I respond?
Yoga noi.
Yoga noi.
Yoga noi. Yoga. Okay, thank you so much.
Oh.
Yoga noi.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yoga.
So there you have it. Yoga.
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 Yes. Yoga. That's very easy. All Kenya can learn that.
Yes, of course.
Yoga.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's the characteristic? What's a characteristical feature of the Teso?
The Iteso are known for being communal people.
Communal people.
You know, we borrow our lifestyle from the things that we like so much. the Iteso like cows. Actually, the Iteso believe, and the Karimojong believe, that all the cows in the world belong to them, and they have a right to have them. So we live like the way the cows live. They live together, they eat together, they move together, they struggle together and enjoy together.
Okay.
That is really a very key aspect of the Iteso people.
All right.
Yeah. The other thing is that you know, we have been pastoralists, and we've been living in the bush. So
what is then the like, for example, your dressing? Is this what we'll find like traditional Iteso dressing? Maybe you can stand and...
one thing before I explain to you my dressing is that the Iteso people have been evolving over time.
Okay.
You are looking at an Ateso who evolved into a modern being, but decided to backtrack, to move backward. As many young men are going in front, I'm going backward.
You're going back.
Because I have realized that, you know, if I don't have that identity, it doesn't make so much sense for me to say I am from Kenya, I'm from East Africa. It doesn't make a lot of sense. They ask you, you're from East Africa, where? What's your name? Okay, how do they greet? And for example, some of my friends don't know how to greet, you know. So my dressing is traditional, but a little bit with a fusion, because this is not exactly how our shoes used
Someone
to be.
get that short, guys.
This is a little bit of fusion. This is a little bit modern, but we like shoes like this. Yeah,
because you walk a lot.
Because you walk a lot. We need something which has hard sole.
Yes.
Actually, tunatumia tire. We use the tires. Like the car. You know, the car is an it passes on the thorn. Somehow it can be able to move. Yeah. So, but basically, we borrow our dressing based on the same things I told you that we like. We lived with cows long time ago, and our culture evolved out of the behaviors of cows, out of the products that we got from the cow. We ate it, we dressed on it, we slept on it, we were buried on it. So if you see me dress, basically, this is too for beauty.
It's okay. You can use the mic. You have a mic.
I have a microphone.
That's good.
So this is beauty. We love beauty. We live in the nature, and we like to copy all the colors in the nature. Green, yellow, blue. Just as you can see me, I think I have all the colors that exist in the world.
Yes.
Yeah, and if you see on my back, this is called emukule.
Emukule.
Emukule. This is basically a multi-purpose dress.
Okay.
Or skirt. This, I can remove it and put it here. I will use it to lie down when I get tired of my movement with my cows. I can use it to dress like this. Actually, there's another one here. Some young boys, they didn't have to have this other one in the back.
Okay.
This is especially for the older people.
Okay.
But the young boys can just have this to cover that part in front. You understand?
Protective measures.
Yeah, it's protective. You never know something can happen. Yeah. So basically a skirt. After some time, after we moved from this, we came to bed sheets.
Okay.
So we go with the bed sheet because
that's when you were modernized.
Yeah, when we modernized, we got bed sheet.
Okay.
So the bed sheet is still helpful, just like the hide, because we move for long distance, and when the rain comes, we want to maybe sleep there. It has become dark. We want to sleep there. We just pick it and use it. You see, I have a bed sheet down, I have a bed sheet up. We are kind of the same as the Maasai, because long time ago we were one people. There is just something else. We like style.
I was going to ask you about your hair.
We love style.
Let me ask you something, Daniel. Is that Daniel being modernized, or is this something that is part and parcel?
No, I want the young people to tell me, am I being modern by doing this, or I'm actually being Daniel, the Ateso? I think some people might think I am being modernized, but that's not the truth. Long time ago, the Africans did a lot of art. Africans did art on their bodies. Some of them cut their ears. This cutting of the ears, that earring you have, is not from abroad. This was existing in Africa.
Yes.
Before.
So even tattoos are not from abroad.
Even tattoos are not from abroad.
Yeah.
The West has modernized it.
Yes.
But have you not seen the Sudanese with drawings here.
Yes.
The Karimojong cut their ears, cut their mouth or nose, something like that. So the African people loved art, and they expressed themselves a lot in art. They drew some of the ideas that they had. For example, they find rocky place, and they could pave some ideas that they had on those rocks. And like I told you, they loved art, and that's what you see in my head.
Yes, just for a minute so that we can get a shot of that. Yeah, that way. Okay. So
these are the back is.
But now, you know, there's still beauty, you know, beauty, the sun, you know, the blood that binds us together. You know, we are black people, you know, that pride of being black from the source of the Nile. That's what you're seeing there.
So even the Mohawk meets
you see, like now, so I am a fusion and mix, because, you know, natoka Teso, lakini naishi Mombasa pia. So some of these are borrowed also from Mombasani, but it's still the same idea of beauty.
Sorry, Willis, let me just ask you one question.
Yes.
Daniel, what's your surname?
Okiror. Actually, I prefer to call me Daniel Okiror. Or if you fail to call me Daniel Okiror, call me Okiror.
Question, what does Okiror mean?
Okiror, I got it from my grandfather, and you know, they used to name people according to situations.
Okay.
So when I researched about my name, I did not really click what they really meant. So, like I told you, I came to the modern, I decided to switch off to the traditional. So I am one of the elders in Teso. I'm one of the youngest elders in Teso, and I've decided to popularize my name as meaning popular one.
The popular
Okiror means popular one.
Okiror.
In my mother tongue, if you say, what's your name? You say, Ngai Ekone Kiror. Ngai Ekone Kiror. Who is your name? Who are you? What's your name? You say, Ngai Ekone Kiror. So from that word Ekiror, name, that's how the name Okiror comes. So according to me, my name means I'm popular. And many of you are about to name your children after me.
And remember, if you have any questions or comments about the Iteso, is it the Iteso culture or the Teso culture? The Iteso culture, you can talk to us. The hashtag to use on Twitter is hashtag for breakfast.
What did you say? Okay, what did you say? When I live in Nairobi. Okay. When I am in Nairobi, I really struggle a lot.
Yes.
Because in Nairobi, they call it a modern city. So in the modern city, ukiona mtu kama huyu anakula chips kuku.
Tuharibie.
Okay.
Kuja pole pole. Kuja pole pole.
Maybe I don't know. I'll ask about that later. So, but I've seen young people like really they like chips kuku. Now, nikienda kwa restaurant, wananipatia chips kuku. Kila siku chips kuku. Na nini. But pale kwetu, we have a variety of things. You know, do you know that in my village, people used to live for 100 years and above? Have you ever wondered why the people of long ago, like your great-great-parents, they live longer than us?
Yes.
Because of the kind of food they ate.
Yes.
They ate natural food from nature. You know, God has blessed us in a way that there is food that is supposed to keep our bodies really healthy. We don't even have to keep running to the hospital to keep our body running, because some of the food is medicine.
Okay, so let's go into what you guys eat.
So, where do I start? The step of food of the Iteso is millet, sorghum, cassava. Now these things, they can be eaten separately, and there are different ways. You can get them direct from the garden, cut them and put them in the saucepan, or you can preserve them or transform them into other forms. That can be eaten a year or years ahead. So with me here right now, I have a few of the variety. This is ugali. You know, when I was growing up, when you talked about ugali, I didn't mean it was ugali, the posho, the maize meal. I meant that, my grandparents meant that ugali is a mixture of a cassava or sorghum and millet. So this is just a sample of that.
Okay.
This is millet inside, a little bit of cassava inside.
Okay.
And when you mingle it, Aitoki, the white like the way it is, it changes color because of the mixtures.
When you cook it?
When you cook it. So when you open it, this is how it looks.
Okay.
This is the best that Okiro likes to eat. Yeah. Before I came here, I was in the village, and I was very, very happy. This is what I was eating. So I had to eat a lot before I come to the city, before they give me cheap cook. So this is called atap. Atap. When you mix these things together and mix it with water, then instead of ugali, you bring what's called atap. This is very nice, multi-purpose. You can eat it day and night, and children even wake up before they go to school, and they eat it. And now this one, you know, I asked one of my friends to make it for me so that I can just show you. But what normally happened is that you can actually eat it when it's cold in the morning. The one in the morning is called alilimoid. Alilimoid. It means that it's no longer warm, it is cold. You know? So that's how the name is derived. Alilimoid. Okay. On the sauce side, we eat edek. Edek is a mixture of peas. You crush peas or you crush beans, and then you make it. Now, there are different ingredients. We don't like tomato, onion, oil. No. We like natural things. One of the ingredients you can put in edek is called etigo. You see this? This is just a certain leaf. I don't know how I can call it, but this is it's old. They have preserved it.
Okay, it's been preserved.
It's been preserved, but it's called etigo. It's called etigo.
Which camera? Let me remove. So it's like dried.
It's like kunde.
Kunde, yeah.
Like kunde. But normally you mix it with kunde. When you touch it, it goes like.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Yes. And the other thing, one etigo. It's called etigo. Yeah. That is. You can eat it alone. You can mix.
So how long have these has been dried for?
These have been dried like a month now.
A month, huh?
Like a month now. That is direct from the village.
Yes.
Yeah. And to add on that, there's another ingredient here. This is called abalan. This is soda ash.
Okay.
You know,
this is like the salt in the food.
Yeah. It can act as salt.
Okay.
Yeah. Before salt actually came, this is what we used. It is like magadi. It tastes a little like magadi.
Okay.
But the purpose is to soften the food. When you are cooking hard food, like hard leaves, it softens the food.
Okay.
This is just leaves which are burnt together. Special leaves, not just any leaves. Now, what you're seeing here is a special delicacy. I actually feel like tasting it. Nyata ina amukeke.
Amukeke.
Can I take one?
You can take it.
I am a moment of truth.
Don't be afraid. How is it?
So hard.
Yeah, it's quite hard. It's quite, but if you can eat popcorn.
So
popcorn is not this hard.
Amukeke. Ukona amukeke.
So it's nice. I like it. It's hard, but I like it because there's some sweetness coming. I don't know from where.
It is sweet. Now, do you know what this is?
No.
This is sweet potato.
It's it.
Oh, really?
Oh, okay. Okay.
This is sweet potato. You know, many people. Yeah, that is it. That's the one. So,
okay, in that case, what's a mini cake? Amukeke.
So how is what have you done to get it to this?
So the Iteso, I told you, African people are very creative people. We have technology, and we have always developed our knowledge based on where we are, and when we meet a problem, we devise another means of how to survive. So people used to have these sweet potatoes. Maybe when there's too much rain, it gets spoiled in the garden. And then shortly after things have got spoiled, there is famine coming. So people have to think, what can we do to be able to preserve this so that we can eat it that time when we suspect famine coming. So what you do, you just get those sweet potatoes in the garden, you remove the outer coat. There's a way you can peel it off, and then you do what we call I get,
which is
to cut. You just cut it like this.
So you're slicing it.
You slice it. There is a special way of it. Otherwise you can.
You can slice it off.
Yeah.
And then.
So you dry it, and then you can put it in a compound. Especially in Teso, you know, we have nice terrain. We have volcanic rocks, so you can just take it to the volcanic rocks and put it there.
So you dry it
so that
up.
it can dry up faster.
Okay.
So basically, this is amukeke. Okay. The other way that we preserve the sweet potato, but that's one way. Now, with me here, I have, like I told you, we eat natural things. It depends on what we have. Cows feed us. Cows clothe us. We marry using cows, and a lot of cows, by the way. Women like this, in our old tradition, we should give you 1,500 cows.
1,500 cows?
Yeah.
At once, I'm a prostitute.
And you know what we used to do?
I'm going to look for a Teso.
Very good. They are listening.
Can you take the listening?
So this is what happens. They used to bring cows in this compound, and then they bring the strongest man. And that strongest man has to go do like javelin. You know, javelin came from our village. So he could throw a stone. And where that stone lands, all those cows belong to the father and the mother of the bride.
Wow.
You see, that's how generous the Iteso are. And that's how rich the Iteso are. Except for the socio-economic changes that have happened because of colonialism. I want to be very straightforward. Colonialism brought other people who actually disorganized our setup that made us to lose our cows. And we are always crying when we think about that. Anyway, another thing that happened is when now the current people took power, now there was war. So during the war, they just ran to Teso and got all those cows and gave to their rebels, and they ate our cows. So now, what we needed to do was to try to find another way to live. We moved into another. Actually, originally we're not farmers. We're basically growing animals. This is called ghee. There are many people. The modern people like cheese.
Yes.
I don't like cheese, but I like ghee. Ghee is natural. It has butter in it. It has cheese in it. It has many of those products. This is still pure. Actually, you can still be able to derive other things
like
from
cheese
this.
And whatever.
Yes. So you use this for cooking. Use it as appetizer in your food. Now we have something else called simsim.
Simsim?
I cannot open it.
Yeah.
This is simsim. You know simsim?
Yes.
Yeah, simsim.
And that's made into balls.
Yeah, in town here.
In town.
We make it in balls, into those balls. But there, we crush it and we use it to paste our food. Okay. Most of our food is pasted or boiled. We don't like oil because we want to live healthy and live long.
I'm just wondering, do you eat meat, seeing as you're pastoralist?
We eat meat. Like I told you, we live on meat, but the way we eat meat is not like the way the city people eat meat. The city people eat raw meat.
Huh?
Yeah.
Raw meat?
Yeah, because the way we make our meat there, if you smell it, just smell it, akuvuta. There's a way we put spices there and we use fire to soften it. But when you taste it, you know that, I thank God we made animals. They are so nice.
Let me ask also before, to take you back, where, because we see a lot of simsim here, where does simsim come from? What are you crushing?
So simsim, basically, there are different ways of crushing it. We have something called a mortar. You just pound it like this. That's one way. And there's another thing, just a stone. I told you we come from volcanic areas, so we use the stones to crush it. But now there's modernity, and we're happy about that. So we just have some machines where we can put a simsim.
So
just like
is it a plant? What is a simsim? What is it you're crushing?
Simsim is a flower. It's a
flower.
Very beautiful flower, which is white and purple. It's very, very nice. But when that flower goes off, then you get some, I don't know how I can call it, some
pods,
fruits like coming like this, but inside those fruits there are those small seeds. So simsim is actually seeds.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, if Willis Rabu wanted to get a Teso girl.
Yes. I think Teso, of course, if you put us in the Adanga mechanism market, I'm telling Ateso that I've already got your market here. The man is ready. You can contact me. I'll give you the number. We talk directly.
Yeah, you already sold. Yeah, you sold. Okay. So what's the process?
Okay.
He has found a girl.
And yes.
And now he wants to marry her. Does he have to be?
So what you need to
let through the stone.
It is not easy, but it is possible. So the first thing is that you have to send a letter. Send a letter to the father that you have liked. Nowadays, by the way, this is not Precambrian like I was talking about. This is a little bit pre-modern. You send a letter to the parents, and the parents will respond to you if they like you or not.
So how will they like me? What am I saying?
The way you present yourself, the way you present yourself, the way just you have talked about yourself, they want to know you are from where. Who is your father? Your father is very important. Is your father a thief? Or is your father a chief, a respected man? How are people, how is that family? If they bring their daughter in that family, how will the daughter be? Will the daughter be safe? Are you witches in that place? So that is the first thing.
Right.
Then if they kind of like you, they will ask you, okay, you come on such and such a day and introduce yourself physically. Now they want to see you. Are you strong enough, like me, that you can be able to protect their daughter in case there's danger? Are you handsome? Anyway, that's just a little bit overboard. Now, in that process, still, you will put some gifts in a certain place. There is a ceremony, but that ceremony should not excite you so much, because you might think you have a wife, but you don't yet have a wife. You're in the process of courtship, the process of trying to convince her if you are the right person.
Okay.
So once you have put those gifts
like
there,
what's the gifts are?
You can just put nice gifts, just whatever you feel in your heart.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, whatever you feel in your heart.
Okay.
Sometimes people just put a check.
Okay.
Of certain money.
Yes.
Or you say, actually, I give you these goods. Or something you think that they will like.
Okay.
So the girl has to decide. If she likes you, she will pick those gifts from that table. If she doesn't, she will not pick those gifts. And if she has not picked it, it means you have lost. And hata hii chakula inakoma hapo.
Haukuli?
Rudi kwenye. Angerea. The other one has refused. So you are not on about in power.
All right. Akikubali sasa.
Akikubali anachukua hiyo, but then people will celebrate. The women will make noise. They say I carry. Kitu kama hiyo. Sijui ama Kikuyu pia wanafanya hivyo.
Wanafanya.
Yeah, wanapiga hiyo kelele. Sasa umeanza kuingia sasa kwa nyumba. Ndio siku moja tena okay, after that now the elders will gather together, and now your elders and the elders of the girl will gather together in a certain corner, and then they will okay, the modern one then they will decide how many cows you want. But the old one, like I told you,
the stone.
They throw the stone. But after the colonialists, we remain with a few cows, so we had to do it like business. We have to be a little bit careful, otherwise you die of hunger, because you depend on those cows to live.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, once you decide on the number of cows, so clearly, when I come, when Willis comes with a check and a gift, it is up to me to decide whether I want.
You have to decide.
He has not done any work. He's not yet gotten a wife.
No.
He has a long way to go.
No.
Kazi kwako.
Kazi kwako. Bado.
Sana tunaweza. Tutaleta.
Okay. All right then. Well, very interesting to learn about the Teso culture. It's been very enlightening. And
actually, I like someone to talk about the Iteso, because, and I'm proud of Citizen, because actually you have brought this platform. When I move in the streets, there are actually not so many Iteso people. Not because they're not there. There are so many Iteso.
I was going to ask you, are you many people?
There are so many Iteso.
Yeah.
So many Iteso. Although a majority of them are in Uganda.
Okay.
But there are also so many Iteso in the West, in Western Kenya. But when I move in the street, I think, the #1 Iteso who moves with confidence, the way I am, as you can see. I like myself, the way I am. I am Iteso.
So you're going to walk in town like that, with those clothes?
Sometimes I don't walk like this in town, otherwise they will gather.
Yeah,
the children today, they will gather. They will gather.
Okay.
So I had a point I wanted to say,
Yes.
that some of the Iteso are meeting in town, having their legs down, not legs, their faces down, because they have been bullied.
Okay.
And I want to say this, that from today onwards, I don't want to see anybody bullying the Iteso people.
Yes.
In Nairobi.
Yes.
The elder has spoken.
Yes.
So, my Teso, you have to move in freedom and know that you are one of the best creatures that have ever been made.
Okay.
All right, then. There you have it.
Awesome.
Give us a song, and then we'll talk about your music.
Okay.
You know, the Teso beat.
Okay.
What it characterizes, what it symbolizes, what you talk about, because we can't hear, we don't understand.
Many souls are disturbing my mind. Many souls are bubbling my mind. Every day I'm sleeping outside. I'm a home. The mosquitoes they bite me.
We'll talk about the lyrics.
It's alright. The lyrics. We shall talk about the lyrics. The lyrics. Maybe meant to say rhythm. Yeah. Okay. Rhythm. The lyrics.
But Daniel, if you know, for someone who's listening to your music, they call it what is called world music.
Yes, it's world music. But that's broad, you know.
Very broad. It's a very broad, you know, genre. But then bring it back home to us and explain to us the music that Teso sang, the sound. What was the sound like? Or what is the sound?
The sound of the Iteso is the pure sound of an African. The Iteso played music on a pentatonic scale. Pentatonic means we played only 5 notes. Music has 8 notes. Normal Western music has 8 notes. That's called diatonic scale. But the Iteso omit some of the notes in the music. And the music was characterized, of course, by the environment. We live with the birds, and so we sing like the birds.
Sing like the birds.
The Iteso had so many kinds of music that they used to play, and it depended on what moment in life. Was somebody born, they will play for them a drum, and there's a beat that accompanies that kind of drum. When you become almost of age, you begin like being a teenager, there's a kind of music that is played. When you get married, during celebrations, there's special music, and even when we die, there's special music. When there would be problems, or there is war, people could sound ebilo or abole. So there's something they blew, or it could be like just like a horn of a cow. They blow it, and then everybody knows that it is time for war, or it's time to take off. Every sound had its meaning.
Yeah.
The music of the Iteso is not just music we are playing Hatucheze tu muziki. There's meaning behind the music that we...
For every sound.
For every sound.
And this music was done synonymously with dance and drama. Let us delve deeper into their music and learn how this reflects their identity.
One of the styles is Ajosi. Ajosi is just a dance we used to dance to celebrate the elders, the wise people in the village.
This is the praise singers dance and the main Iteso performance that was developed from the ancient Atakere genus in Moruto, now Mount Moroto, where the name Iteso was coined to mean visionary leaders who see far. Although the Iteso did not have a kingdom, they delighted in the chieftaincy of their elders, also known as Ikirigin. Theirs was a perfect democracy in which every decision was made through consensus of several elders. These were highly experienced and trusted leaders. Therefore, they deserved praise and celebration from their subjects, which was done through Ajosi, especially after accomplishment of important tasks like conquering a new territory. The dance was done rotating around the drum players. A stronger woman beat the Ateus or Atenus drum with her palm, while a male played Ide Theta, which were 2 or 3 smaller drums. The women and men sang interchangeably and repetitively in unison. Every male dancer was fitted with isiman or rattle to produce a percussive sound as they stamped their feet on the ground to the rhythm of the drum beat. Technically, leaders would be carried on the shoulder by able-bodied male dancers to signify their accomplishment and oversight even during the dance, which was done by up to 50 people together. Iteso are a communal people. Meanwhile, the able-bodied men who carried these leaders proved that they were strong enough, which could attract potential partners from the females dancing in their own circle paired with the male circle. Women performed caring duties and demonstrated tenderness and a caring heart towards the men carrying the leaders on their shoulders, as well as the leaders themselves. The women used handkerchiefs to wipe sweat from the faces of these men. This also earned women marks from potential espouses. The dressing and costumes included flags carried by women to show clan identity of the group performing and to show their accomplishments in conquering territory. Some men wore masks to make it more dramatic and entertaining. The skin of a leopard or cow was tied around the waist of male dancers, and the tail of a cow tied on the elbow and the tip of the dancing stick, while the head was fitted with ostrich feathers. These cow skins showed how significant cows were to the Iteso lifestyle, while the ostrich feathers and leopard skin was to show the hunting skills and the courage of the men wearing them, since killing these animals was not for the faint-hearted. All these performances happened during the day and were adjudicated such that the best group was rewarded with a cow or more, which they roasted in celebration of their victory. The sticks used in the dance were to signify the protective role of men in society, and the strange thing is that at the end of argosy, it often turned into war, where the males in each group had to defend their clan representatives. And the war was a practical training aimed at preparing young men to face foreign adversaries. Should they be attacked by an enemy, musically rivaling clans put their bars aside and united against a common enemy. Iteso are warriors typical of Habiru mercenaries who have been revered throughout pre-colonial history. The Ebuda music and dance. Like the Ajosi, it had a similar design, intent and purpose, but it tended more towards the courtship aspect than the praise poetry. It was mainly a cappella and footwork without the drum beats. It was performed by the youthful population then, who did not bother to maintain all the rules of the Ajosi dance. This is typical of curious youth often looking for new trends. It was also performed at night without adjudicators to give the youth opportunity to party while they search for their spouses. By this time that Ebuda was performed in Teso, the Iteso tradition of marriage being initiated by parents had begun to fade. The youth now played a bigger role in finding their own spouses. We can already see that this music has been changing over time, and so is the Iteso identity. Next is the Etida music and dance. Literally, they broke out into uncontrollable dancing that involved rolling on the ground as the spirits took over. initiating the twins during birth. The twins were given a special spiritual reverence in the clan, and so were the Inomun, who were born with their hands or legs coming out first instead of their heads. There is now a full clan of Inomun who are revered Iteso healers. In times of drought, a rain-making ceremony called Ailele cake was accompanied by a spiritual dance called Amongin, in reverence of a great Iteso female ancestor, wife of Oduk, one of the protagonators and warriors who led the Iteso from Moroto to their current land. In pre-colonial times, Amongin was a diviner of whom leaders consulted before taking radical decisions, since she could connect with the spiritual world. She was then canonized and evoked to give guidance in times of calamity in post-colonial Teso, where the Iteso trailed the whole village singing spiritual songs to her and other ancestors, seeking to bring healing and peace to the land. The Amongin singing journey often ended under the Ebomo tree, which was believed to have supernatural powers. One of such trees I was showed in Omunyir village near the home of Geresem or Yokot. In a rather strange twist, there was a form of night dancing or night running called Ekiria Kiria, in which witches danced naked and ran backwards at the dark of the night while performing their duties. This generated fear among us children whenever we noticed strange sounds in the dark backyard. Let us now go to the warrior dance Ekira Kira. This is performed mainly in Usuk area closer to the Karimanjong. It is a form of Edongai which is now extinct in Teso but still practiced by their uncles the Karimanjong. The warriors ululated and joyously danced energetically with Isima rattles tied in their ankles, jumping up and down frantically and emphatically, imitating the crested cranes who used to jump in the evenings in the Kidepo area, which is now a game park. They mainly danced to vocal singing accompanied by blowing of horns and asukusuk, a wind instrument that was made from a pipe connected with a gourd to produce deep notes imitating the sound of esukusuk, a type of unedible wild turkey whose singing was also said to invite rain. The Iteso identity was engraved in the natural life around them. Their women would celebrate them with a karie, a technique of screaming loudly like a guinea fowl. This is common especially in celebrations like marriage. The women rewarded warriors with their humility and loyalty. Similar to Ekira is Akisuk, which is done mainly in the rural area and across the border to Kenya. The ram's horn, formerly used to call Iteso for war, is played inviting the band made of Asukusuku, Adeo, Ateus, Ratos, and Ideheta to the sound of women and men jumping up and down, singing in unison after the leader. Most of the meaning in costumes and dressing remain the same, except that each Iteso music group normally integrated the available materials in their dressing and music, while the roots remained the same. Adeu was one of the main instruments which is now in the verge of disappearing. The popular player Obasie Palian of Kenya just died a few weeks before I planned to interview him for this research. What a loss. The tuning is purely pentatonic, and those who played it were the independent musicians of the time, as opposed to the group performances that were common in other Iteso music and dance. However, it can be combined with Asukusu, Ateus, Ayekeyeken, as demonstrated by Obasie himself. Adeu, which is believed to be the same instrument that King David played in the Bible, has been improvised by adding more keys or notes, while others just decided to import the similar type that was invented by the Alur people of northern Uganda, which they named as Adungu. This diatonic adungu was easily adaptable to the Western music played in the church, which mainly used Western scales in their worship.
We're going to go to Uganda, to the source of the Nile. I'm going to play Nilotic sounds from the source of the Nile.
inatokea Afrika Mashariki, inatokea imani panapofika.
Another solo instrument played by independent musicians was arigirigi or ageregeret. You can also call it tube fiddle. This is a one-stringed instrument played skillfully, interchangeably with the main vocals. Today, this is mostly used as an accompaniment in a band played together with other instruments such as ebilo or alamar. Ekembe music. Finally, the now most popular dance of the Iteso, the Akembe, Adongo or simply Akogo, which became the main courtship dance due to its appeal melodically and rhythmically. Iteso were part of the earliest civilization in the Fertile Crescent. Their constant southward movement limited how many artifacts they were able to carry during their long-distance bush trek. The Adongo was nearly extinct in pre-colonial era when suddenly a musical revolution happened when young Iteso traveled and interacted with the Congolese. The story has it that apart from traveling to Congo, some Iteso worked with the Congolese in the colonial plantations in Kakira Sugar Factory in Jinja. Notice that in Congo, the instrument is called likeme and the Ateso called it akembe, and later nicknamed it akogo, which has become the most popular name of the instrument and dance. The Iteso picked a new interest in this instrument, reinventing everything around it and owning it to this date. They arguably became the best players of this instrument globally. On returning home from their journeys, the youthful Iteso jumped into this bandwagon, having a party for themselves with this new appealing and trending genre, which combined very many instruments together. A typical band was made of 12 and more lamellophones, all playing in tandem with each other, bringing the most aesthetic and romantic experience for the youth involved. And the most popular subgenre of Ekembe music is Akobo Aten, which is purely pentatonic and has the power to heal the sick. The missionaries were often skeptical of Iteso music since it had the power to evoke the spiritual world. However, they soon admitted a specific genre, the Akembe, which had diatonic notes topped with pentatonic notes, such that it fitted in the mood of chant songs. Another subgenre of Ekembe dance is Ekata, whose melodic rhythm accompanies a coco dancing. This specific genre is also influenced by the Lango type Likeme, which involves a very radical dance. What about you, Daniel Okiror? What is your music genre? What music do you play? Well, all the above mentioned genres form the foundation of my music. I successfully created a new genre called Teso or Afra-Teker sound, which includes my own reinvention of the Iteso lyre, the Amagar or Alejat. Basically, I utilize my academic musical knowledge as well as international exposure in my musical development. I have discovered the best formula of using all the above styles depending on the mood of my inspiration in that moment. The choice of my band setup during my recording or tour is influenced by the geographical location where I am performing in. Since typically Iteso music is played by up to 50 people in the band, I have mastered most of the instruments myself so as to minimize struggle with transportation. The several instruments I have mastered make a root of my music while enabling me to collaborate easily with musicians playing Western instruments regardless of the country where I am performing in. Any musician can accompany me on stage. Moreover, all my traditional instruments are electronically amplified. At the same time, I like to collaborate with the typical Iteso music players so that we can grow each other. And this research was also meant to give these collaborations an academic voice that will potentially open a new window for the development of Iteso visual and verbal arts.
Emuria Koliai-Let! Emuria
effort, I hope that I will inspire a renaissance of Iteso knowledge. I also hope that we can embrace change while reinventing ourselves within the ethical limits and authenticity of our unique identity, which is God's special gift to the world through us. By sharing our unique experiences and knowledge, we promote better understanding of ourselves and the community around us, hence contributing to the global archive of solutions necessary to solve the vast problems hailing our world. Let music heal our world. Long live the Iteso. Emuria Koliai-Let, let the seed grow.